Have you ever heard of the Asian Journal of Women's Studies?
Or maybe you have walked through the small forest next to the way that leads up to the library and noticed the beautiful Victorian old-looking building that is referred to as Yonghakwan. You might have noticed a little sign that says Asian Center of Women's Studies. The Asian Journal of Women's Studies was established in 1995 as a pioneering academic journal in women and gender studies across Asia. It's a part of the Asian Center of Women's Studies here at EWHA Women's University, and it provides a platform for scholars from all across the world to establish their papers regarding women issues in Asia. For me, working here is like being of a small, supportive family. It never feels like a burden.
I work as an editorial assistant at the journal. I get to work for 16 hours a week here, and every second of it is just really meaningful. It also deepens my knowledge about my own major because it's related to women's studies. Today, I got the chance to interview my manager here at Asian Journal of Women's Studies. Maybe you can get a closer look, and if you are interested in publishing, you'll understand more about the process throughout this video.
My name is Haewon Yang, and I'm the 특임교사 at the Asian Center for Women's Studies, working for the Asian Journal of Women's Studies as the managing editor. And I have my editorial assistant here and my editorial assistant over there. We have the copy editor, so we work as a team. I take care of the whole process of the from submission to publication, and the editor-in-chief and the associate editor, they make the important decisions along the way with the publication. As the title says, it's focused on Asia and on women's studies. But Asia is not just a location for us. So the Asian Journal of Women's Studies is a multidisciplinary peer-reviewed journal committed to producing and sharing feminist knowledge about diverse conditions of power, inequality, and activism in and across Asia and the Asian diasporas. We aim to reconfigure Asia from a fixed geographical region to a vibrant space for critical discussions about the colonial practices and transnational solidarities. So we focus on Asia, like I said, in the aims and scope of the journal, Asia and Asian diasporas. It can come from different parts of the countries in the world, but it has to sort of engage with Asia and Asian women. We publish research articles and book reviews, but we do have some pieces that are not strictly research article.
And why is the journal published in English, and how does that impact its reach?
English still is the lingua franca. So to be able to communicate with a wider audience, you need to have a language that works for basically everybody.
Can you quickly walk us through the editorial process from submission to publication? What are your editorial standards?
You submit your article when you feel it's ready. Once it's received by the office, we first check for its eligibility, mostly to do with suitability, whether it fits the aim and scope of the journal, the methodology. Also, sometimes the papers are too short, which means it's underdeveloped. We check for that, and we call that stage the pre-screening stage. Once the articles passes that, then it's sent out for peer review by 2 independent anonymized peer reviewers in the academia. After peer review, depending on what decisions you get, it can move on to editing, further editing, copy editing, and then publication. If not, then it's rejected.
Is there a fee for authors to publish in AJWS?
No. In principle, no fees, but if it's a funded research, which means that you have received funding for writing a paper for the whole research process, then we do ask a sum of $350 or 35만 원.
What are your aspirations for the journal's future?
We are reaching the 30th anniversary, so it will be the 30th year next year. Hopefully, we hope to be more vibrant and reflecting more of the voices coming from Asia, reflecting women's experiences in Asia.
In what ways can young researchers and scholars get involved with AJWS or contribute their work in the journal?
A lot of the articles, the research question is not that clear, which means that you're not very clear about what you want to look at. If you have a question, you also have to frame it in a way that makes sense within the field. What kind of discussions have been going on in the field and how they approach the question. So you need enough background knowledge on the topic, and you have to frame that question in a way that is accessible to that audience. Then you have to find a way to address that question, which is the methodology part. So that needs to be cleared. And then it's the significance, why your article matters, why people should read your work. So if you have that lined up in a persuasive way, in good written English, then that would ideally be the ones that we would accept. I think coming up with a question would be the most important part. I would say have courage. Don't be afraid. There's no mystery here. If you think your paper is good, just try. Not just us, but any other journals out there. And by getting rejected, you learn something, because they do provide some reasons for rejecting the paper. And if they say it's not ready, then you can work on it further, and then you can always resubmit. So rejection does not mean, okay, you cannot write anymore. Rejection just means we don't think this paper is ready. So you just go for another time. You revise and you improve, and then you can still submit the same paper in a different, improved version to the same journal or other journals. It's always a good idea to really go through their past publications to see if what you're working on actually fits the aim and scope of that journal. Research that journal and make your paper appealing to the editors there. Go ahead and submit.
The Asian Journal of Women's Studies made huge contributions to amplifying the voices of Asian feminists all across the world. Today, the Asian Journal of Women's Studies stands out as one of the biggest platforms for Asian feminist scholarship. If you're interested in publishing your work to the Asian Journal of Women's Studies, I deeply encourage you to do so. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a glimpse on AJWS and my part-time here at EWHA Women's University.